The Culinary Institute really represents more than a state-of-the-art training facility. It's a statement about our role in the heart of Savannah.
In the industry, we're always judged by our last plate. For me, in education, we're judged by our students.
We've created a legacy that will serve Georgia and America for decades.
Don't just hear about the great thing that Savannah Tech is doing. Go experience it yourself.
On this episode, we examine the powerful connection between education and economic growth in Savannah. Discover how Savannah Technical College's new, state-of-the-art Culinary Institute is not just training the next generation of chefs, but also serving a vital engine for the city's booming hospitality industry. We'll explore how strategic partnerships and hands-on learning are creating career opportunities and driving community success.
Well, Ryan Foley, president of Savannah Technical College, welcome. This new downtown facility, I tell you what, it's a huge step for Savannah Tech in general. What does it say about the college's, commitment to revitalizing the city and, of course, supporting local economy?
Well, the Culinary Institute really represents more than a state-of-the-art training facility. It's a statement about our role in the heart of Savannah. By restoring 7 West Bay Street, which was a historic newspaper building and really then later served as a nightclub, we've really transformed a property with deep local history into a vibrant educational hub. And tourism is already one of Savannah's largest economic engines, with more than 17 million visitors spending over $4 billion annually. And this project ensures that the heart of downtown remains a place of both cultural vitality and really economic opportunity.
Yeah, you mentioned, of course, the historic part of Savannah here, a huge deal. It took a lot of teamwork to put this together. Let's talk a little bit about how the state and, of course, the college and the STC Foundation, all the private donors, everything that came together to bring this vision to life. How did that come about?
Well, it's the true definition of a partnership where, everyone comes together and gives equally, really. The $15 million transformation would not have been possible without really the collective efforts of the state, TCSG, our local foundation, and really other private donors. The building was purchased and gutted for about $2.7 million by the Savannah Technical College Foundation, who then donated the property to the state of Georgia, and really with support from folks at TCSG and our local legislative folks. They saw the vision really and invested as well. The community supported the vision. They believed in the value a training facility like this would provide. And really the great thing is our state and local leaders believed in it too. And that's why they invested in the project really to get it across that finish line. Together the local community and state worked together and invested a total of about $15 million into really what I believe is a state-of-the-art, one-of-a-kind training facility. And really these kinds of partnerships matter because they create not just facilities, but pipelines in industries like hospitality and tourism, which around here employ 26,000 people locally.
You talk about having a visible location there off 7 West Bay. I wonder, it must feel like a big shift there. How does the new presence help raise the profile of the college overall? Well, being visible in the heart of downtown puts Savannah Technical College on the map really in a new way. The Institute's really large glass front cafe space and visible baking lab are seen daily by residents and tourists who just walk right by. And at some estimates, are over 1 million people walk by that institute every year. And with tourism generating more than $4 billion, this prominent location showcases our college's role in fueling one of Savannah's most important industries. And that visibility strengthens our brand. It'll allow us to attract more students and really builds credibility with employers in the region. You talk about attracting more students. What's the strategy behind becoming the #1 culinary school in America? Well, the Savannah Culinary Institute is already the #1 destination in culinary education, and our strategy really is rooted in accessibility, quality, and reputation, like I was mentioning. By doubling enrollment, we're not just growing numbers, we're really growing opportunity in the region. The Institute's facilities, from that kitchen, from top-of-the-line, state-of-the-art kitchen equipment to real-life restaurant and learning experiences really allow us to serve more students than ever before. Combined with the 100% job placement rate and Savannah's rising profile as a culinary tourism destination, really we're positioned to become the top choice for culinary students in America.
Welcome back to Talent Pipeline, Georgia. Today we are joined by the CEO and president of the Tourism Leadership Council in Savannah, Georgia, Michael Owens. Michael, How are you today?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Well, we're very happy to have you here. And as we get started today, let's start with this. The tourism and the hospitality industry, it's considered a huge economic driver for this Savannah area. With that said, how does the Savannah Culinary Institute serve as a direct pipeline for talent into this particular industry?
Well, that's right. It is a huge economic driver for our community. It's over $5 billion a year in spending in the local community. We employ 28,000, actually a little over 28,000 people, making us the biggest single industry employer here. And of course, like any great thriving economic sector, we're always looking for great talent. And that's what we call folks in our industry. We call them talent because it takes a special and talented person to do great in this industry. You know, one of the things we value the most in our industry is experience. Yeah, certainly an academic background and going through the work to get your degree or your certificate is important. But boy, our world is really a human-to-human interaction. Even in the back of the house, we talk about back of the house as not being customer-facing, but you're colleague-facing. You've got to have great interpersonal skills. You've got to be able, especially in my industry, you have to be able to work under the heat of a kitchen and the stress of a thriving economic sector. So it's that real world experience that we value so much. And it's one of the reasons we're so appreciative that Savannah Tech has really stepped up their game to invest in the Bay Street project, the Savannah Culinary Institute, where the students are going to get real world experience with real customers, real bosses, real colleagues under pressure. And that makes them better equipped to thrive when they graduate, jump right into our industry. They're going to jump in on third base, right? It's not entry level anymore because of the experience they've gained from their culinary instructors and again, the customer and their colleagues. Getting a head start is the best place and best way to start anywhere. And that's exactly what the Savannah Culinary Institute is giving its graduates, a head start.
Well, Michael, it's been said that this industry values hands-on, real-world experience just as much as it does classical training. So how would you say this new facility's public-facing restaurant and its bakery fulfill that need for students?
Well, that's a great question, Chris. Let me start with kind of this. I want everybody listening to this podcast, and Chris, you think to yourself, do you have a favorite restaurant? Yeah, you go there frequently. You've been there many, many times. Have you ever had an off meal there? Just the crab cake wasn't as good. The burger wasn't cooked the way you wanted to. It happens, right? Everybody has a bad night. Did you go back to that restaurant? Sure. You give your friends a try. You give them a second chance. Now I want you to think of a time you were at a restaurant where someone was rude to you. Did you go back to that restaurant? No. And what's that tell you? That even at a restaurant, it's really not all about the food. The food's got to happen, right? Can't be terrible, can't be consistently terrible, but you can have an off night and still keep your customers. If you have a bad human-to-human interaction with the server, a bartender, the host, the manager, man, that ends it. So that's a people skill. That's an ability to communicate. It's an ability to listen to a complaint and respond to it positively, because yes, there are going to be service failures in a human institution, and food and beverage is a human institution. So where do you learn the human skills? I mean, is that in a book? Is that your experience? It's not mine. My experience is learning through interacting. My experience is that I get better at human interaction by failing at human interaction and learning from it. And the more experience I have in human interaction, both positive and negative, the better I am at it, so long as I'm introspective. And that's something that I know Chef Gary teaches, right? There's a lot of it that comes from within and with us. And we have to ask ourselves the hard questions to get better. We have to want to do that. Can you write a great article about customer service? Sure, I can. I have. And it's the most amazing article that's ever written about customer service. It was written by me, of course, and that's what my mom said. But the truth is, it really comes from that experience, right? Is how do you hold relationships together? Friends that matter is you learn to fight well. You learn to disagree well. You learn to act under pressure or those types of circumstances. That's what real world experience is. It's not just going to work in a kitchen. It's learning to go work in a kitchen and learning how to be a better individual in doing it, how to be a better colleague, how to have empathy when one of your colleagues is struggling, that day for all sorts of different reasons. And in that empathy, you can find some strength that you can work through your issues too, right? But there's nothing that beats real experience where learning is happening as a result of the experience. And that's the part that I'm really, I know Chef Gary very, very well. I am the chairman of his fan club, the Savannah chapter of the Gary Caudell fan club. I'm the president there. What I know about Gary is that Gary doesn't want just the experience. He wants people to learn from the experience, and he's going to take every opportunity when something goes wrong in the kitchen, as it invariably does, to make sure the student sees the lesson in the experience, not just goes through it, but sees the lesson and then can take an action to make sure that the next experience is even more meaningful, impactful, and for a business, profitable.
So why is this holistic approach so vital to developing well-rounded culinary professionals and entrepreneurs?
That's a great question too. You got a lot of good questions. I am somebody who believes I'm an operations guy. Like that's the part I like. If you want me to market something, man, it's going to be a terrible TikTok. But if you want me to make something work and be successful and get into the trenches and roll sleeves up, and I thrive in operations. I thrive in chaos, which is the kitchen, by the way. The only thing more crazy than the front of the house is the back of the house. That's always been the case. I think when I got better at operations was when I understood that if everybody understood in my organization what role they played and why it was important and how that aspect served the greater mission, that everybody was better with their jobs. They were better with their responsibility. I believe that more knowledge is good, more knowledge is gooder. And I think the back of the house, understanding the pressures of the front of the house, right, that can create speed and efficiency, and understand that, look, you've got a server out there at the front. You maybe have a rough customer out there, right? Anybody ever seen one of those? Somebody just giving the business to a server? Listen, this server just wants to make this person happy, wants to put a great plate of food down and get their tip and do their side work and go home and go enjoy their family, right? Well, they can't do that without a great kitchen, right? And if the kitchen in the back doesn't understand the urgency of the front, it's not going to work. A great organization, much like the 6 processes of life, right? This is science says to define something as living, it must be engaged in the 6 processes of life. One of those is the ability to adapt to outside change. That is a core component of food and beverage from soup to nuts. It is a core component. Things in the front of the house change, and so the kitchen has to change. Things in the back of the house change, right? You run out of an ingredient on the most popular dish. Well, that's going to be some bad news on the front end of the house, right? I think one of the most important things that happens when you take the wall down between the front of the house and the back of the house is empathy happens, right? You see what happens, you see the pressure of the other side of that wall, and then you react and do everything you can to help alleviate that pressure. Well, that door, like any good kitchen door, swings both ways. You need the front helping the back, you need the back helping the front. And by the way, one last little point on this, and this is so incredibly important. Great restaurants are not made by great cooks who just cook well, right? They're craft. I mean, I cook well, I don't have a great restaurant. Great restaurants are made by people who cook well and understand the business of the food and beverage business. It is a business. There is cost. There are labor constraints and concerns. If you don't understand food cost, if you don't understand your how to control your expenses, if you don't know how to maximize your revenues, you will have no profit. You have no profit. You have no restaurant. If you're going to be, and that's the nice thing about the culinary world, is it offers incredible opportunities for the entrepreneur, right? So if the basis of having a good skill set, which you got from the Savannah Culinary Institute, not only do you know how to cook well and understand the techniques behind it, and you can spit out the 5 mother sauces at any given time, if you understand the P&L, if you understand the business side of it, well, then you really do have an opportunity to make a great restaurant. that is both sustainable and growable. And growable is important.
Well, from a workforce development standpoint, what is the value of a public-private partnership just like this?
Well, first of all, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. I think this is going to be a great program, and I think that every other culinary program and others are going to go, wow, this is a big deal. And what can we adopt from that model? And I think the most important thing they'll adopt from the model is, it's not unique worldwide, but it's been somewhat unique here, is that real notion of a public-private partnership. When most people say public-private partnership, what they mean is we will run the program, that's the public side, and you will pay for it, that's the private side. That's what public-private partnership means to most people. That's not what it means here. Everybody paid into it, but everybody's participating in it. There are several times a year that I'm invited to Savannah Tech, and I talk to the students. I have given lectures about all sorts of different things. My favorite thing to do is just talk to them about my work experience coming up. I'm one of those, like most tourism folks, we start at the bottom and we work our way up to wherever we think the top is today. Talking about that and my, I hate to say my journey, but it certainly was a drudgery at some points, or certain points. Giving people a realistic view of the sacrifices of the industry and sometimes the hardships of the industry, right? We work on holidays, that kind of thing. I like setting that expectation. But I like people knowing the whole industry, the industry that I love and I've stayed in my whole life. You're not going to get that in a classroom by itself. You're not going to get that in a closed setting, right? The truth is you've got great professors and teachers and instructors over there who probably haven't been in a real world environment themselves for a couple of years because they've been teaching, right? Well, we bring both. So get the teaching, right? And then the unique thing that teachers have is they know how to teach, how to impart that knowledge, and where I don't necessarily have that skill set. So I rely on the teachers to communicate it in a way that it's retained by the individual who needs to retain that skill. And then we come in with the other side of it and talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of food and beverage. And I think most of the time when you have a really honest conversation about the good and the bad and the ugly, people like the challenge of the bad and ugly, and they feel like they're prepared to handle it because they've had the right training and instruction from the team. And that creates a better rounded graduate. And that's what the goal is here. Let's not forget what the goal is. It's not to sell, amazing pastries to the visitors that come here. That's not the goal of the program. That's going to happen. That's a byproduct of maintaining the goal, which is to make the best, most prepared student we possibly can to go out into the workforce and thrive and create a career for themselves where they can provide for themselves and their family, and they can be happy in this world. Don't just hear about the great thing that Savannah Tech is doing. Don't just read about it. Don't just listen to this podcast and hopefully appreciate it. Go experience it yourself. Get in the car. Yes, there's plenty of parking. Don't believe the lies. Plenty of parking. Come down and experience it. You will not regret it. And don't live a life filled with regrets.
All right, now I'm with Chef Gary, the department head of the Savannah Culinary Institute. And Chef, what was the core vision for the Institute, and what does it feel like to see it finally come to life?
The core vision for us was to be able to have a facility for students to be able to gain real life experiences. Again, on main campus, we didn't have a whole lot of opportunity beyond our live work events for them to be able to actually serve public. And this is a crucial part for our growth, and also the training for the students, because in order to be proficient at something, especially with your hands-on, you need to be able to do it. You need to be able to do it when repetitious, do it over and over again. You're expanding on not only those techniques, but also soft skills. So for us, it's truly surreal. You're looking at a design element plan that's been in the making for such a long time. To be able to see the progress throughout the construction phase and the finishing has just been, really has been surreal. Not only for us, the faculty members, but also the students that have been a part of the process throughout the whole entire time.
Yeah, it's always incredible when you see a major project come to life like that. All right, Chef, I know the Institute features a lot of state-of-the-art equipment. How does having access to this technology prepare students for the future of the food industry?
For us, I mean, it's all about making sure that they have real life experiences that they're going to see out in the industry. For us, we have top-notch equipment. We partnered up with Rationale. Again, top of the line, technologically advanced, pieces of cooking equipment that they're going to see in the industry. So, our goal is to be able to make sure that they're proficient with the equipment, they know how to use it, and then they're not going to be blindsided if they go out in the industry and they haven't been exposed to these items. Exposure and, learning the different techniques, learning the ins and outs of what it would be like to work in the industry. That's what we're all about. We are so hands-on with the program, and the students really, they're really attracted to that. A lot of what we do is just to make sure that they're ready and they're proficient, they're going to be successful in the workforce.
Yeah, I agree. There's really nothing that can beat hands-on experience and working on state-of-the-art equipment. I mean, it sounds incredible. All right, Chef, walk us through the curriculum and the comprehensive front-of-the-house, back-of-the-house education. How does this curriculum specifically address the current future workforce needs of Savannah and Georgia?
So for us, we start them with the introductory courses such as food costing, labor costing, safety and sanitation, all the fundamental techniques and skills that they would need to be able to have before they get into our downtown location. All that happens here at our main campus on White Bluff. So we want to make sure they have a little bit of skin in the game. That way, whenever they come downtown, they're trained and they feel comfortable at least with those basic skills. That way they can use those to propel themselves as they get in the downtown space and they're serving the public. A lot for us is to be able to have them have the foundation to be successful in that manner. So for us, we have the front of the house, obviously the service staff, the runners, the hostess. We want to make sure that they're trained up all those skills, especially even bartending. So one of the exciting developments we've had within the space is we're attaining the liquor license. So this is something that's never been done before within TCSG for a culinary program. So we're excited to be able to bring that into light, because beverage service is something real and tangible that they're going to see in the public. A lot of the gist with the front of the house, back of the house, for us, for them to be proficient with working on a line, understanding how to set up their mise en place, understanding how a line works and how teams work in the industry. It's extremely crucial for them to look at that. Plus also even having the managerial concepts with developing recipes, developing food costing, and understanding how to work out a menu to where it's going to be cohesive for a restaurant line service, plus also maintaining profitability. All those are managerial skills that they're going to be able to take within the industry. So it's very crucial for us to be able to make sure that they can understand that going into the workforce.
Absolutely, Chef. Knowing the ins and outs of that entire industry is just going to make you much more employable, or even if you wanted to open up your own restaurant one day, you should definitely know all aspects of it. All right, Chef, you've shared how education allows you to make a lasting impact on your students. How do you involve industry partners in that mission, and what role do they play in preparing students for real-world success?
100%. We love to bring in industry partners all the time, again, such as TLC or Visit Savannah. Michael's been a dear friend of the program for quite some time. Again, I think the hospitality industry within the Savannah would not be in the same situation without him. He's been truly a positive icon. But the important part about us bringing in industry leaders to be able to talk to our students is because we have things on our end that we know we need to look for as far as training in either deficiencies or, hey, you're getting in this group of employers or employees. Like, what kind of things do they need to focus on? Where could they be better on it? And that also helps us give us some ideas where we need to reshape our focus as well. The students really need to get that experience, or at least have that feedback with them in person, because there's a whole lot of dialogue that can happen, because they obviously are going to share their stories. They're going to give a little bit of anecdotal information, but the biggest thing is they need to be able to understand that people in this community have their back. They want them to be successful, but they also want them to be prepared and understand what they're getting into. And so we're all in the same boat.
All right, so we've heard from college leadership and industry executives about the strategic vision and economic impact of the Savannah Culinary Institute. Now let's turn to the individuals at the heart of the story, the students and graduates whose careers are being shaped by the program. Joining me now are Alexandria Nicholson, who is in her final semester, and Jeremy Bryant, a recent graduate and a military veteran. Let's start with you, Jeremy. As a veteran, you've already had a full career. What drew you to pursue a second career in the culinary arts? And how did Savannah Technical College program facilitate that transition for you?
So when I retired from the Air Force in 2018, I remember the gentleman giving the briefing to say that you have had a career, you have been a manager, you've been a supervisor, now it's time to find something in your life that's going to make you happy. And that kind of drew me back to I love to cook, and I was taught by my grandmother and my mother, and I knew that was always a passion for me. So I thought, what a great opportunity now that I'm this young, I guess you would say, that I can kind of start a second career, and what better way to do but was to go through culinary school, because I knew there was stuff that I could still learn, that I didn't know everything, and of course, you teach, grandma and mom teaches you the basics, but I knew that Savannah Tech was in my city where I grew up at, and I was familiar with it, and I had several friends that have gone here before and have come out doing really well. So during COVID, that's kind of when I sought out Savannah Tech, went online, did my research, and just ended up signing up, and next thing I know, I was in class.
That's a powerful story of turning a passion into a new chapter. Alexandria, the hands-on experience in the restaurant and a bakery is a huge part of this program. What has been the most challenging and conversely the most rewarding part of that experience for you so far?
The most challenging part of the experience is that service is only an hour and a half when we do serve people. So it's almost like working only in the rush of a restaurant. It's like we walk in, set up, and then boom, you're in the rush. So that's the most challenging part, but the most rewarding part is that we get through it every time. I've had the opportunity to work with great teams, been very lucky for the people who are working online with me to be helpful, also knowledgeable, and also passionate. So that's the most rewarding part, is getting to work side by side with my classmates.
It sounds like gaining invaluable real-world skills under pressure. Jeremy, as a recent graduate who has seen the program's evolution, how did your training at Savannah Tech prepare you to be job-ready from day one? And what specific skills did you find are most in demand in the hospitality industry right now?
The specific skills I think that are most high in demand right now are actually just being flexible, having the flexibility, and also having the direct skills. Savannah Tech and going through the program, I gained skills that I knew would help me from day one, the moment I stepped into a restaurant or if I stepped into a catering company, that I would have skills that no one else would have. And then going through the program definitely prepared me for that, as far as being able to, do certain things like, balances for if I was planning a party, and how to make sure plan a budget and work that budget according to what's being asked of me.
Yeah, that adaptability is critical. Alexandria, there's a saying every plate should have a purpose. What purpose do you hope the community finds when they come to dine at Savannah Culinary Institute?
So I hope they come and see that we care. I hope they see the care and the passion. We're not perfect. We're students, so we're learning. That's why I think it's great that with every customer that comes, they get a form to give us feedback. So the purpose, I think, is to see that we care and the passion behind what we do, and that we are trying to grow. And we want their feedback. We want to know how we can get better, so that the next time, if they continue to come, just the dishes get more refined, the ingredients get more luxury, that we just get better.
Luxury and get better. Aren't we all trying to do that, Alexandria? All right, Alexandria, now let's talk about a key factor, accessibility. How is the Savannah Culinary Institute helping to cultivate the next generation of food innovators and leaders in Georgia by being an affordable and approachable option?
First, I think the barrier to entry is financially is approachable for a lot of people. I had this dream, something I've always wanted to try, and the cost of the program made it so I wasn't afraid to make that first step. So where other culinary programs are tens of thousands of dollars a semester, that cuts a lot of creative and talented people out of getting the formal education. And so I feel like it opens up to new perspectives and people of different walks of life being able to enter the industry. And also with the downtown location, we're getting real hands-on experience that people may not get in a regular culinary program. We're on that line during service, in the heat, in the thick of it. So when we enter the industry, we have some real life experience.
Yeah, that combination of affordability and practical experience is clearly a winning formula. And finally, a question for both of you, starting with Jeremy. Knowing what you know now, what advice would you give a student considering a career in the culinary arts and a program like this?
I would say go for it. Sometimes we may find ourselves standing on the cliff, but until you make that jump, you won't know how exciting it is. So I would say go for it, go in with an open mind, knowing that you don't know everything. And I know at my age, I did learn a lot of new things that I didn't know before. And I'm truly honored to have had the experience. I've worked with some great people, had some great instructors, and I think Savannah Tech gave me that.
Alexandria, your final thoughts for that prospective student also?
Sure. Just if anyone out there is listening is on the fence about a career change or anything, look into your local community college. The high percentage of job placement, and there's a plethora of things you can apply for that have direct careers aligned with them, well-paying careers if you're looking to pull yourself out of your situation. It's a low financial threshold and you could really change your life, whether it's plumbing, welding, culinary, cosmetology. There's plenty of options. So just take that leap of faith. Go for it.
Go for it. A perfect note to end on. Jeremy and Alexandria, thanks so much for sharing your journeys and your insight. It's clear the future of Savannah's culinary scene is in very capable hands.
Thanks for listening to Talent Pipeline Georgia, a podcast brought to you by the Technical College System of Georgia. Visit us at tcsg.edu for more details. The Technical College System of Georgia. Meaningful careers start here.